Good evening. This is Cara Coffey of the Ministry of Uncovered No More. I think if there's one thing, somebody was just asking me at a coffee shop, are you a teacher or a student? What? Because they can see that I have books and that I'm marking up books and that I'm reading and stuff like that. And so, I start listing off to her who I am, which is, I am a teacher. I've taught children to read and things like that. I'm not considered a good teacher, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm doing the best I can. And I know that there's a lot of people around me doing the same thing, and it doesn't matter which school we go to. What matters is what we make of our lives, and we're fighters. We're lovers of everyone and everything, and in our different places. And so we end up forgiving those that we feel like have hurt us and continuing to build positivity the best we can in our places. That's what we do. We're good people. And so I told her, I'm an artist, an author, and all of this. I said, at the same time, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And the stay-at-home crowd I'm a voice for, we usually feel useless. If you don't make money in this society, that's the first thing. You feel like a piece of shit. But if you don't have the perfect social media body and little life, that's the second thing that makes us feel like a piece of shit. And I'm not interested in feeling like a piece of shit. Neither are you. I'm interested in building people up. Many of you are. It's hard to know how to do that in this really convoluted life that we live in the United States of America. And so I told her, because she was like, I looked like either a teacher or a student, maybe both. And I said, it's a good thing to decide to be a student all your life. And she agreed. And was actually the first one of several who are doing a small book club there at the coffee shop, which I love that idea. Never been able to be with one, but love that idea. Maybe someday. Anyway, I had stated that I wasn't going to read portions of the Silmarillion. And I was wrong. But I'm going to leave the mistake and just correct it and read a portion of the Silmarillion, because this needs to be read, and it needs to go into the blog article of that chapter, which I'm working on. I don't think I haven't published the article yet. It's in draft. And have actually read ahead, maybe even have done some artwork for it. I don't know, but something jumped out at me. And this is what I've been saying to everyone. There's books that we need to just own it, that we're going to need to read them over and over. I've got some poetry like that I'm not gonna give it to people until the end of my life. It's willed to them, the end of my life. And I've just begun on this journey at 55, so I'm excited about that I can slow down enough to do this. And I'm a student of my own self, of my own evolution. How many of us are that? And I think, personally, as I begin the book, The Silmarillion, and honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to go to be able to read anymore. I don't know. This book is very heavy in allegory, that is, or in, I can't use that word with Mr. Tolkien in the writing room, because he did not like the word allegory, which was kind of hilarious to me, because that's all I knew. The kind of writing that I do, as in the Christian world, that's all I knew to call, like my Double Moons Prayer Initiative, which was, wow, intense. That whole, it was some days at a certain time that I wrote the Double Moons Prayer Initiative, and I can't even put it back on the internet. It's so, the prayers are being answered in it over and over, but people that I had woven into my story at that time betrayed me. And I'm on the other side of that, where I had to live through the betrayal. They made more, they required themselves to be a part of my testimony. And when I didn't behave the way they expected me to, all hell broke loose. And I don't even know all the areas that the hell broke loose. Well, I'm on the other side of that in a solitary pagan, because this little gal that I sat there and talked to for a minute, you know, I also had to say, I'm a spiritualist, I'm a sorceress. And in that particular coffee shop, everybody gets that. Everybody gets it. You can say you're an atheist, an agnostic, a Christian, a this or that, and you're going to be accepted. Now, I can't say that about every place in Austin, but there are a lot of places where there's a respect for spirituality and non-spirituality, and there's a respect for the disciplines thereof in each individual lifestyle. Now, you know, this is a college city. Austin, Texas is a college city. I'm in Austin this evening, and so there is an open-mindedness here that I appreciate. The politics in this state are not following what is actually in and around Austin, Texas, which is sad to me. I've got a lot of opinions about the electoral colleges and political action committees and all of that, how campaigns are financed, how ugly campaigns have gotten and continue to be. I have a lot of opinions, because none of that, honestly, none of that belongs in voting. And now the Republicans have pushed around redistricting federally, and I don't know if there's going to be a trickle down to the states. You know, we're not represented properly in this nation anymore. Maybe, perhaps we did back in the day. We were, like during the writing of the Constitution and all that. But you know, I have a really hard time going back to that history, because it was only the white property owners, men, penises, that really mattered. The rest of us were second-class citizens, and some of us, many of us, a lot of us, are having a hard time shaking that second-class citizenry feel. Our saviors, federally, don't argue with me here. I can tell you who our saviors are. It's Bernie Sanders is the biggest one. There was no way in literal hell he was going to get into the presidency, but he should have. You should go read his book. Seriously, the man knows what's going on. So, you know, and how attacked the Obamas got was so wrong. This Russian-Ukrainian war is so wrong. So, you know, it's just, we're lost, but we're found in this day and age, in 2022. And so I'm coming up out of a lot of negativity. And so I'll say that I'll put limitations on myself, because that's the only way I know how to live, y'all. You go ahead and start laughing at this 55-year-old woman, but if you have to understand, and I'm about to start writing about this on A Daughter's Perspective. It's a new blog, and my daughters and I are saving each other in some things. And I can actually say it now without starting to cry, because, well, yep, I'm wanting to cry. And I don't want to do that. I'm happy. And so I'll be sharing that on another video or in writing on that actual blog. But this is Tolkien and I. And I literally hit delete on 2 to 3 blogs that I tried to start with Tolkien. I at least didn't say, oh, forget it. I almost did. I actually put the book away, the Silmarillion, away with the art, and said, you know, and I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can read poetry most of the time. Mostly, I can read poetry and really enjoy it. But Tolkien's writings, I was being prevented in a metaphysical way, and so the only answer for that, to get back to what I felt that I knew I wanted to do for the sake of unity in, let me speak metaphysically for a moment, in Tribe Judah election. So this is like my Davis Beatty side, my daddy side. I have to choose to have pleasant feelings and form my life now around that, because the whole world that my life was based on is gone. But we're still paying our bills. We still have things we can do. We have freedoms, and yet we're mourning inwardly because of like the Russian-Ukrainian war. And that's where the little people, us, just feel so hopeless, because those Ukrainian and Russian people under the surface who don't want that war, they're my people too. And I know there's a bunch of Americans that feel the same way I do, and that's been true since I'm aware since Vietnam. Okay, I'm aware. And our fervency for no war has been very strong and continues to be strong in this side of America. The rest of America isn't us. It's white supremacy, y'all. It's murderous. It's how Donald Trump is not in jail yet, and should be, because they're liars and the truth is not in them. And so I said I was not going to read, and it's already on blogs. I said I'm not going to read in JRR Tolkien's works. And I think it's because I feel like I might as well just sit down when I'm reading the book, just read the whole chapter. I'm having to learn, okay, I'm taking this out. This is what I am concentrating on in his writings. And I have practiced doing that in real life. And it's an atrocious writing room that Tolkien and I are in. And he lived there his whole life. If you read a little bit of his history, and you don't have to read that much, I mean, yeah, I just started kind of laughing, because it's like, oh my God, well, I just found somebody else who understands, but he's famous and I'm not, but we're all out there, see? And, it's just, we live life, and then we live life. And it's a deep, passionate life. And so I think when I said that, it was like, if I don't put some limitations on myself, I'm just going to read every fucking chapter in the book. Just read the whole thing out loud and not give it my flavor. Okay? And here's the thing about Jesus Christ, the King of Kings. What he doesn't want people like me, Tribe Judah elect, mysterious relationship there, but nonetheless there. What he doesn't want us to do is be him. He doesn't know how to help people do that any better than we know how to do it if we're close up. Tribe Judah elect here, Gentile. I have seen the Lord. Start laughing, because it's just going to get funnier at this point in my life. That's all I know. It's just going to get funny, because we are on chartered territory. We're in uncharted waters and uncharted territory. But we're on dry land. I'm about to go buy cabbage to make soup with Curtis, I'm sitting in a parking lot. And it's okay. If there's one thing that Cara Coffey for henceforth is going to be good for is laughing at ourselves and saying, well, I said I'm going to do it that way, but here's how I'm actually going to do it. And let's just start admitting that we're learning every single day. Okay, we're just learning every single day. And we need to be willing to cry together, to laugh together, cook together. When we holler at each other, give each other the gift of some solitary time to get over ourselves and each other, because there's people in my life that I don't like anymore. But I love them and they love me. And I have said to them a few times since 2014, literally, I've been around this mountain quite a few times in my 55-year life, and it's just like, can you just pull my spine out? I just need to be done, but I don't want to stop living. I enjoy living, but then there's this other side, and this other side is the passionate us in a fucked up society. And we got to have that passionate us to change that fucked up society. Is what we know. That's how America started, y'all. So back to basics. So when I put limitations on myself like that, the religious me just says, you're just so fucked up, you don't know what you're doing. The real me says, okay, I got this. I've done it for a little bit, hit a few blogs, hit delete, started over, have thankfully my beautiful little street artworks are there, and it is bringing out the story that I'm supposed to bring out in this one book. And I'm starting to see color again. I can show you. I can show you. This is by JRR Tolkien. This is the Silmarillion, and see the beginning of days. Okay, well, Genesis chapter 1, y'all. And I said no color. I couldn't see color. And I have a family member who always sees color in his mind. I asked him if it was still there. Yeah, Mom. And he also can do music. Okay. So, here's the real us. And so then, if you can see right here, page 30, this is like the next page, I began to see color. And see, I colored this somewhat hellish colors. It's the orange. It's not always hellish, but in this case it was. It's, I don't know what that other color is. But I was telling myself, we're not going here. This is the part, this has to do with Melkor, who is, if you want to speak Christian, Melkor is Satan. That's from the beginning. And if you'll remember, Jesus did tell Peter, Apostle Peter's a good dude. Get behind me, Satan. He's an exorcist. King is a shaman. He's an exorcist. And I'm a sorceress. I'm an exorcist girl. And so it carries more authority only as it concerns home fronts. It does not carry greatest authority, but we all know that the King of Kings has the greatest authority in the spirit. But I've already released the vision on one of that I had as I was talking. I released a vision of a room, and he just walks in, and boom, and I said, look, y'all, if this is going to happen, maybe not my lifetime, but what the living fuck already, what Russia's doing. And the Russian people don't want it done. Do you honestly think anybody speaking English, do you honestly think any of us that are the little people want World Wars 1, 2, and 3? No, we don't. So it happens. There will be wars and rumors of wars, is what the Bible says. And so it happens, but how to deal and how to bring it around and keep bringing it around and keep bringing it around is what we are struggling with as pioneers in love. And so here's Cara again, being wrong to be right. Being correct after I set a boundary on myself to break it. It's correct to break this boundary. I have done this to myself a million times, where I think I need to do something. Maybe it's to be more acceptable. I don't know. Maybe it's an insecurity. I don't know. I've had somebody ask me, are you insecure? And I just started laughing. I was like, I feel ugly at times. I feel insecure at times. I feel angry at times. I feel ecstatic at times. I cry. I laugh, sometimes too loudly. It doesn't matter anymore. And I have people in my life that keep saying that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it's like, but you matter. You matter. You matter. And I keep saying I'm going to quit telling them, but I don't. I finally told somebody who wants to blame me for too much. I said, look, don't you down talk yourself. You know I will take your head off down talking yourself. Don't you do it. You down talk yourself in front of me and I'll take you down. I'll cuss you out for hating on yourself. You go ahead and laugh. I got people in my life who tell you it's true. She won't let you. She'll sometimes take it if you do it to her, but rarely. I took it from my kids when they were younger, some of my older kids, because of my spirituality being the way it is. I had to, and I don't want them to feel bad. I want them to stop, because I can tell some of my kids feel bad about what happened, and I want to tell them I have lived in feeling bad because of what my mother did to me and what religion did to me, and we have got to kick that bucket. We have got to kick that out of our lives. We're good people. And I believe my daughters are there for me there, and I'm there for them. And that's okay. That's okay if they don't think that they're there for me. They're going to listen to me from a distance, and you're going to hear me when I say, you're there for me. And I know I'm there for you. I'm sorry for the pain in your life that I caused. I'm sorry that I have to admit that you've caused some pain in my life. But all of that as it is, we're good people. We're strong people. Our family. And that is that. The rest of that shit's going to pass away. Where we remain. Our souls and spirits remain. And so it's true what I told the lady just a little bit ago. It's true. Let's remain a student of ourselves. Let's be willing to be taught by one another. Let's be willing to learn from each other. Let's be willing to be a student of ourselves. And let's be willing to let people be who they are, as long as it's not encroaching upon us. And see, that's where I have a problem, because I've got some people in my life that weren't my daughters that were being very demanding about how I was supposed to look and be for 14 years. And they destroyed me in that. But they were coming out of expectations too. But, I don't have any excuses left for adults that did that to me. I can forgive it. I'm not going to justify it. And I definitely am not going to justify it being negative about my children, trying to cut them out of my life because you're going to cut them out of yours. No, the answer is no. I've been controlled way more than people understand, but I have a feeling my children understand it. And they never lost me, though, is what I want them to know. They never lost me. I've been devastated more times than I want to admit, because I am an emotional and passionate person. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you what there is wrong with is when somebody repeatedly continues behaviors around somebody like me close up that they know is hurting me and is hurting my children. That's wrong. And my mother didn't really love me. And so it's finally, I think people are having to understand, wow, there was quite a bit more rejection in Cara's life than before her testimony was actually made understood in the general populace of just who was around me. She was actually controlled and rejected more than we understood or even cared about. I have had one of my older children admit, you're right, Mom, because I said, look, in desperation and in pain, I just said, look, nobody's ever interested in what actually happened to me the first 21 years of my life. Nobody will come and just sit down and say, I'm going to empathize with you because you've been through a hell of a lot and survived it and are thriving, actually. What was that like? What was it like to watch my brother die twice and then find him on the other side? What is it like? Well, he found me. What is it like to have a mom that did that to you your entire life, and yet you're an empath, so you knew it was there, but you didn't, and you always wait for someone to tell you the truth? Because I can tell you now, and some of it's going to come out on a blog. What's coming out on this is the Silmarillion. I'm going to read a piece. So I was wrong. I had placed a wrongful expectation on myself. And I want you to hear me say that. I am tired of people who aren't willing to say what I just said. I can't say it to some people because they will pounce on it because they're still fighting with me, and I'm just having to ignore that part of the relationship. I'm not here to pick a fight with America. And as far as I know, neither is the king or my brother. Okay. I'm here to love you and for you to love and nurture me. So we got some attitude changing that needs to happen. That's how you get me admitting something on YouTube, but I can't say it. I can't say, I was wrong about this. Actually, I have in my testimony, and I have the scars to prove it. I'm not going to put myself in that position anymore. I'm going to reach out to the general populace and say, be a self-student and be okay with breaking your own expectations. I'm talking about a small thing here. Doesn't matter what I do. Well, it does to me because I love myself regardless of what has happened to me. And I said I wasn't going to do this. And then I'm doing it. And that's beautiful. I have nothing to be ashamed of. All right, so I am in chapter 1 of The Beginning of Days by JRR Tolkien in the Silmarillion. I want to read from page 38 of this book. And when Valinor was full wrought, and the mansions of the Valar were established, in the midst of the plain beyond the mountains they built their city, Valmar of many bells. Before its western gate there was a green mound, as Alohar, that is named also Corollary. I hope I said that right. And Yavanna, who I am being right now. I will change when I need to. And this has actually got something in it I'm going to share in words written in this blog article. Yavanna hallowed it, and she sat there long upon the green grass and sang a song of power. I do this all the time. I can, as a Christian, speak in tongues that I don't understand. Okay, so those are songs of power. I've done it in churches. I've done it in the shower. I can just do it. My dad did it. You can call us strange. You got some strange things around you. Why don't you fucking hell stop being negative about our beauty, okay? And she sat there long upon the green grass and sang a song of power, in which was set all her thought of things that grow in the earth. But Nienna thought in silence and watered the mounds with tears. Watered the mold with tears. Mould. I'm not sure what that is, actually. In that time, the Valar were gathered together to hear the song of Yavanna, and they sat silent upon their thrones of council in the Mahanaxar, the ring of doom, near to the golden gates of Valmar. And Yavanna Kamintari sang before them, and they watched. And as they watched, upon the mound there came forth 2 slender shoots, and silence was over all the world in that hour, nor was there any other sound save the chanting of Yavanna. Under her song the saplings grew and became fair and tall and came to flower, and thus there awoke in the world the 2 trees of Valinor. Of all things which Yavanna made, they have most renown, and about their fate all the tales of the elder days are woven. And there's going to be a piece of me that stays here until the kings and I can remain geographically approximately in the same areas, which is happening. So I don't know anything else, and I won't until he says that I will know it. That is, I said it, and the time has come for me to simply remind America that the king is in charge, and that time is fullest. So it would behoove me, as a Tribe Judah elect sister, to simply say, okay, here I am. Not, here I am, send me. Just, here I am. And it heals my heart. I will write the part where but Nienna thought in silence. I am her as well. Okay, and I went through a transition at the first part of this book that is powerful for me and for Judah, therefore, because I'm Judah Gentile. It's powerful for us, and I don't know how. All I can do is artwork, reading, testifying, keep going, developing blogs. So if you'll notice, what I'm going to state is that the tears of Nienna are gray. Holy Spirit. It's part of both of these women. It's beautiful, beautiful writing, poetic, and both of these women are Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit. Manifestation, Great Spirit manifestation in this particular series for me. And I think if there's one thing that JRR Tolkien wanted, I mean, he spent his whole life doing this. He was not even here on this side when this book was released, which is very powerful for someone like me. It's beautiful about him that he kept writing this. He just kept writing this book. And then his son had to publish it. And I don't know why, but that is just one of the most romantic things that I've heard in a long time. In a family situation. And he just kept writing it. It's just beautiful. Hallowed are the beautiful things. Romantic are the beautiful things. Right now, Ukraine is birthing so much romance. Ouch. Anyway. So I will write about what I just said as far as these 2 women and how it's helping me. I'm going to put some of my personal testimony in with the reading of this book and the producing of the artwork. I'm going to have to, in this particular blog article, I'm going to have to cross post a blog article on another site about my daughters and I. It's going to go here. So let this be a lesson to anyone who's interested. Weaving of time is our job as the little people. We make life exciting, regardless of the federal governments and state governments and all that political stuff. We are the spice of life. So let's do this. Okay, have a nice evening.